Okay, hello. This is going to be a day 11 summary. I'm now in day 12. Okay. Um, well, very odd circumstances. Been thinking about why this has happened. But anyway, let's just start with the 3 a.m. phase and sort of get into it from there. On that 3 a.m. phase, I now have my third successful sleep in a row with no additional no sleeps. So that pattern that we were tracking across the 3 a.m. phase, where there's these consecutive no sleeps that are almost constant across the phase. That were the only no sleeps that used to be until day nine. Day nine had a false awakening dream in the 7 a.m. phase and a vivid REM dream in 7 p.m. phase. Both were euphoric dreams, euphoric waking states. And then that's when day hit 10 hit and everything like changed. It was like everything just changed. There's no explanation for it. It's just like a switch went off. And in day 10, I had two no sleeps in that day. It was 7 a.m. phase and the 7 p.m. phase. So, one second here. I can't hear my own voice. Okay. And now, on the day 11, which we're doing a summary of now, um, I had two no sleeps. So it's gone from horizontally, across the days in the 3 a.m. phase. Now it's going vertically. And so two no sleeps during the 7 a.m. and the 11 a.m. phase. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it in my other two attempts. No sleeping with Uberman has always been easy. Because heck, sleep is easy. I mean, using the Uberman. I mean, it's and you get into a rhythm of head to pillow sleep, head to pillow sleep, head to pillow sleep. It's like automatic. This time I haven't done that, and so I don't know really what to make of it. I mean, really, um, I literally have like no explanation for it. Um, don't know why it is, but it's kind of messed up. I mean, it's kind of messed up because those sleeps are so important and they help you feel good and you know they it those greens when you do a regular when you fall asleep successfully, every time you do, you're um, progressing in your adaptation. So to all of a sudden have these in a row like this, man, I want another switch to hit. I mean, flip another switch so I don't have to do any no sleeps now, you know. um, Gosh. Okay, the other thing we were tracking, of course, is the 3 p.m. phase. Okay, that dreaded, that infamous 3 p.m. phase, where like all the extra sleep occurs. I was able to get to sleep successfully. I mean, go through that phase without any extra sleep, which means the emphasis now is going to be on day 12 to see if I can demonstrate that it's broken. If if in this, because I'm in day 12 now, if I get through that 3 p.m. phase without any extra sleep, then um, it's showing a weakening of that lock. I mean, the entire time that I've been doing the Uberman here, there's been this oversleep phenomenon in this 3 p.m. phase, and it's pretty much contained all extra sleep that occurred. Um, and it's not that there was all that much, but it was all occurring in that phase. So today is going to be crucial. Day 12 is going to be crucial for that. And then finally, the only other thing really to report is the 7 p.m. phase. I was I implemented the listening to music security feature, or the skill set, if you will, and um, as a way of staving off sleep deprivation, symptoms of sleep deprivation. I had two no sleeps in the 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. So, it was a little bit rough. I did get to sleep in the 3 p.m., so I had a buffer. But in the 7 p.m., I was starting, I was kind of feeling it, and I didn't want to. I just, I just used the listening to music method. What I didn't do on that, of course, was use headphones. Okay, I think when you're using listening to music as a method to stave off sleep deprivation, um, headphones I think are a crucial part because it helps your mind to focus on that music. I mean, of course, you want to listen to energizing music that gives you mental energy, so that that mental energy is what's overcoming the sleep deprivation symptoms. And so I did have some microsleep. My roommate came in and found me seated asleep, and so that happened. It couldn't have been too much time, but I don't know how much time it was. I have no idea when I actually nodded off. And again, I think also another thing I was doing was I had the music on the speakers, and then I was multitasking something else. In fact, I was browsing on Stumble Upon when it happened. And so that basically I'm updating that whole method, that whole skill set, to include the fact that you don't want to really be multitasking. If you're going to use music, you don't want to multitask. You kind of want to listen to the music. Use it as energy, because once it gets into the background, then it's subtly not as effective. And and also just be vigilant, because it is a passive method. Listening to music is not an active method unless you're dancing to that music, or unless you're engaged to it. Okay, if you're engaged with the music, it becomes active. But if you let it go into the background and you're doing something else, okay, just be aware that you're doing that, because you're vulnerable to oversleep, because it's not you're basically in a passive state at that point, because you're not using the music actively to fight off the sleep deprivation. Okay, so that's sort of an update on that skill set, and like a security update. And so I don't know how much sleep was lost, but I had no problems getting to sleep at 11 p.m. So and right now I feel pretty good. Um, so not euphoric, but I mean, I feel great. I mean, for averaging 3 hours of sleep, well, 3 hours and 20 minutes of sleep a night. I mean, a day, every 24 hours for the last 11 days. I should be out of it. I mean, you try doing that straight through, no way. You can't do that. Mm-mm. But with this, and that includes oversleeps. So it's 3 hours 20 minutes includes any micros. Mostly it's micros. Like I didn't oversleep any of my phases. So thank goodness. I mean, I woke up to the alarm each and every time. That's been running smooth as clockwork. Oh, I might as well mention it here since I mentioned that. There's a really cool technique that I found, because I mentioned that one of the security procedures that I use is unplugging the keyboard and the mouse from the computer every time I go to sleep. And that way, when the alarm rings, the subconscious mind can't just like tap a mouse or hit a key on the keyboard and disable the alarm, because it has done that in the past. Okay, and it was very sneaky. Okay, but now that I remove the input devices, the that cannot happen. Okay, but in thinking critically about that method, I realized something really obvious that I hadn't thought of before, and that is, well, what if the subconscious mind just turns the computer off? It's a big lit up button right there, it's the power button. The subconscious mind doesn't show itself to be stupid by any means. So, what I did was I Googled online, well, how do you disable the power button from the computer? And I found out there's a setting in the control panel for it under power options. And you can go in there and then you can select go into hibernate mode if you press the button, shut off, or do nothing. You can actually have an option do nothing. And that way all of my shutdowns and restarts and everything, they're not done with the hardware button. They're only done with the software options, shutdown, restart, hibernate. It's all software oriented. And since I have the mouse and the keyboard unplugged. Mm-mm. The subconscious mind ain't doing that. This thing is impregnable now. The only thing it could do is like unplug from the power, which if it can do that and I remain asleep, I mean, of course it could, right? But thank goodness that that is going to be something that is so abnormal that it's just not going to occur. Okay, I mean that's just pretty much how I have to assume it's going to be. I mean, I don't even want to think about trying to implement a security to block off the power supply so that it can't be accessed, by the subconscious mind burglar, the burglar boogeyman. He sneaks in, he's got a mask, puts on a little like thief mask, with the clippers, and he's cutting the wires. Oh, that's funny. So I think I have an impregnable method for having the alarm, and I really am standing by this alarm. No oversleeps in that alarm at all so far. I'm real happy about that. What we need to be looking for specifically is as I am eliminating these oversleeps, these micro sleeps and nod offs, which are the only things I'm getting are nod offs basically. Um, Okay, and as I'm eliminating those, because I am also now implementing that early morning weakness is being removed. The early morning, I mean, by early morning, I mean when you first wake up. Every phase now, I don't mess around with anything. I turn off the alarm, I stand up, I go wash in the sink, I come back. Okay, and so that is it's really gonna cut off access to those nod offs. Okay, the other one was a mistake that just today, this day 11, that I made obviously with music, so I'm updating that security to reflect that. Because actually, listening to music for me is a new security, it's a new skill set, and so I have to sort of learn about it as, in this case, making that mistake is pretty much doing that for me. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I should be smooth functioning here. Oh, right. And then that's the thing. Once you eliminate these waking nod offs, okay, the only avenue left for sleep, I mean, the only choice left for the mind is to put the sleep into your sleep phases that you lay out or attempt to cause you to oversleep the alarm. That's it. Okay. And I think I've chosen the best alarm. Let me see if it's possible to play it to where you can hear it. I'm pretty sure you can't, but let me see because this alarm is really cool. If you hadn't gone back to the other videos to hear it, let me see here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, and it loops, and then it just keeps looping. And I love that alarm. I love it. It is so loud too. I don't think you could hear it. I mean, it was in my speakers, and I don't think you could hear it over the mic, or you could barely hear it if you could. Um, but man, that's a cool alarm, and I think in my second attempt, I think I did oversleep that alarm once. Um, so, but I know this time I know I'm making that alarm louder than I had it back then. It's as loud as I can get it. So that should hopefully help. And we're gonna have to cross that bridge when we get to it, which it looks like I'm about to get there because as these nod offs disappear. Okay, the only other issue is these no sleeps, which I'm assuming. See, the Uberman is so balanced. It's so well balanced. It's perfectly balanced. These no sleeps are going to just disappear because um, it's just the way the system works. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be sleep deprived, and when you're sleep deprived, you're going to fall asleep. And all I have to do is just make sure that none of the oversleep, any nod offs don't get in the way of that process, and it's going to be automatic that those no sleeps disappear just because of the way the system's balanced. Um, and that's it. And I should be clear. So I am definitely moving onward. The goals that we're looking for now is in day 12. That 3 p.m. phase, we definitely want to see a successful sleep, uh, a successful phase with no uh, oversleeps and any no negative sleep events in that 3 p.m. That will show that for the first time in the entire 12 days that I've broken the hold that that phase has had on my efforts. That'll be awesome. And that is it. I mean, that's pretty much what's left at this point. Um, and well, I suppose I could discuss something that I thought was really interesting. But eh, anyway, I can always discuss another time. That's pretty much it. It's a strategy update, good focal update. Oh, the only other thing, right. It was 3 days. I was saying yesterday that I needed 3 days in a row to really show where I'm at, to get a new picture. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going to watch day 12 and then day 13, and then I should have like a new picture to look at and have a. What I'm hoping to see then is no more knot offs. Okay, at all, and then um, the no sleep situation will fix itself. So then on day 13, I should be very close to adapting or that I mean that's pretty much I'm going to have the criteria for proper adaptation. I mean, um, but about day 13. So yeah, this ought to be pretty cool. Um, all right. Well, hey, thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.